Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
After a sizable Afghanistan-Taliban break, national interest is returning to what it likes to talk about very often, which is national politics. And as we begin this week's argument, we raise three questions, but with one proviso, one warning, that unless you have an answer for the third question, the first two questions are irrelevant. So what are these questions? Number one, is Narendra Modi beatable? Is he beatable or is he invincible, impregnable, or maybe like I might have said in the past more than once, that he's not even Teflon coated, he looks cast in titanium. So is he like that? Is he unbeatable? Number two, if he's beatable, then what will it take to beat him? Because in a democracy, everybody is beatable. So if you go with that truism, then theoretically he is beatable. If he's beatable, what will it take to defeat him? Will it be a face, a slogan, a manifesto, an ideology, all of the above, right? And if so, who's most ready to be able to do so? Now, be honest, hand on your heart, and survey the entire political scene in India. Does anybody look like he or she is ready to take on Narendra Modi? Is anybody even saying that I will defeat Narendra Modi nationally? Is anybody even preparing to do that? The answer, frankly, is no, but I will also go one by one with the list. So look at Rahul Gandhi and Congress Party. Now, Congress Party, even in their two big debacles, 2014 and 19, had 20% of the national vote. That is impregnable. That 20% vote doesn't go, it's a lot. It is more than the vote of any other six parties, besides BJP and Congress, of course, any other six parties put together, whether in NDA, UPA, or even outside, right? It's a lot of vote given how India's basket cuts up or how the cake gets divided in India. Now, they've got the 20%. They are the best placed to fight Narendra Modi or challenge Narendra Modi. But are they ready? Do they have these attributes that we just listed, that is face, slogan, manifesto, ideology, or even the will to power? Because, it's one thing to be in power and have the will to power, but to dislodge somebody who's in power, that is a very strong attribute that you need, will to power. You can't be renunciatory. So do they have that hunger, that madness, that something in their guts that says, I have to get power no matter what happens? Now look at the party. The party has dissensions. The party is loosening its grip over states. The party has people talking at each other instead of talking together. Party has many insecurities. Now, don't hold any of that against the Congress party. Don't even hold the fact that Rahul Gandhi does not seem to be ready to lead the party in a big nationwide campaign against Narendra Modi over a period of time. That comes later. The larger question we are asking is the party ready? The party does not seem to be ready, because do one thing, if the party says that they are ready, you ask them, who's your face, right? They'll say Rahul Gandhi, but the fact is that he's not even the president of your party. Number two, what's your slogan? Will it be Sam Garibi Hatao this time? Will it be Chaukidar Chor Hai? Or a new one, you're leaving it too late because there'll be election after election after election going up to 2024. What's your ideology? Are you hard secular or are you soft Hindutva? What is your ideology on the economy? Is it hard left or is it calm centrist? Obviously, it's not right. Calm centrist, even a little bit left of center, but you don't have clarity. Because on one day, you praise the corporate sector and you praise entrepreneurial India. The other day, you say sab chor hai, right? So there is clarity about the leader, but no clarity in the leader's mind. There is no clarity about the slogan. There is no clarity about the ideology and thereby about the manifesto. What is it that you beat Narendra Modi with? Because in politics, as in the consumer marketplace, once you have a well-entrenched brand, to take it on, you need a product with a brand differentiation. A product that fulfills the same need, in this case, good governance, but with product differentiation. You can't say that everything Modi is promising, I will do better. Or everything that he's saying, I will do a little bit better here, little bit differently here, little bit differently there. You have to offer clear product differentiation. So ask any Congress leader. I know that what I'm saying will trigger many Congress supporters, and Congress has many supporters. 20% votes in India. Last election was about 13 crore votes. So a lot of them will get triggered and they will get angry. So if any of them wants to write that what is the party's ideology, what is the party's product differentiation from Narendra Modi, welcome to write. Please write. I'll be happy to publish on the print as long as it's written in publishable language. So we are open, but the fact is that as I see it, I don't think that party is ready. So whether the leader is ready or not is a question that comes later. Is the party ready? Now, Sharad Pawar said the other day, I think in his interview to Rajdeep Sardesai, he said that Congress party is like an old zamindar, an old feudal whose lands have been taken away, maybe because of land reform. And he's left now with a big haveli. Now he has to look after that haveli. Safai karne ke paise nahi hai, doesn't have the money to clean the haveli, doesn't have the money to pay his staff, pay taxes, etc. But he's stuck with the haveli because he knows that this haveli belongs to me. And he still keeps thinking that because I own this haveli, I still own all the rest that I owned in the past. Now, that's an interesting description. I mean, just imagine if you're my generation, you've seen a film like Sahab, Bibi or Ghulam, then you know what a decrepit feudal is or what a decadent feudal is. Or if you've seen something like Shatranj Ke Khiladi, which is more recent, again you can see Rasi Jal Gayi, Bal Nahi Gaya, as we say. So you can say those things about the Congress party, but a political party is not just any other feudal, because dead and decayed political parties have been revived, can be brought to life, and parties change all the time. There is always, if you look at other democracies, there is the New Labour, there is the New Republicans under Trump, but still they were the New Republicans. They were very different from original Republicans. Democrats in America always reinvent themselves. They are actually the most renewable centrist Democrats, right? So that goes on. And why go so far as America? Look at India. The BJP you have under Modi and Shah is a new BJP. This is not the BJP that you had until 2012 or so. They remolded it and they delivered to their voters a new BJP. In fact, if it has any resemblance with the old BJP, do me a favor, please go and seek some time with L.K. Advani or Murli Manohar Joshi and ask them if there are things that they find in this BJP that are common with the old BJP that they led in the past. It's a new party. So parties can reinvent themselves. The question is, are they first of all willing to accept that something is wrong? Because unless they expect that something is wrong, they are not ready for this kind of a wholesale change or repair work or a renewal. And that is the problem right now with the Congress party. So what is the reality that the Congress has to accept? Congress has to accept the fact that even its voters, it has these 20% loyal voters. 20% of India is a lot of votes. I'm repeating it. But it should know that the most loyal voters are getting disillusioned and tired and they are leaving. Say 10 years back, this 20% was 30%. Another 10 years before that, it was even more. But in stages, one set of voters after the other has looked for alternatives, and whoever has found alternatives has gone away. The Muslims left first. The Muslims left first in the Hindi heartland after Babri Masjid. Then Dalits, OBCs, etc. left, particularly after mandalization. So Congress lost its voter base to both Mandir and Mandal. That came from not understanding the changing nature of politics, because Congress still thought somehow that one personality, one family, one dynasty will keep on driving it. That the dynasty, the Gandhi name, is the ideology, and that is the product differentiation. That did not work. And see what's happening now. It might say that they got 20% of the vote. In spite of these two debacles, that many voters don't leave them. But the fact now is that others are salami slicing into Congress party's vote banks. There is Badruddin Ajmal in Assam. There is Asad Owaisi in the Hindi heartland. See Bihar, he took a bunch of seats and the Muslim vote. Now he's making a big deal in Uttar Pradesh as well. So everybody is looking for an opportunity, and see what's happened in the rest of the country. In West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee has vacuum cleaned the Congress party's vote. So she is the new Congress plus left in West Bengal. Similarly, now in Tripura, she's doing the same thing to the Congress party there. She's again becoming the Congress plus left in Tripura. That means the preeminent party fighting the BJP there, and also say in Kachar region of Assam. So she's now expanding her footprint in every part of India where there is Bengali vote. A lot of that used to go to the Congress party or the left, which has been more or less an ally of the Congress party. So Congress party should see the writing on the wall that wherever its voters are finding an alternative, they are leaving. In Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal is the new Congress, except much stronger than Congress ever was. In Goa, Uttarakhand, Punjab, he's trying to become the new Congress, and it may take him one more election, but the fact is that he is expanding his footprint. See in Punjab how well he did last time. He became the second biggest party there. And even now, at least the first opinion polls tell you that he has a very strong presence and very strong chances. In the South, the state that mattered most of all for Congress party, the combined old Andhra, the Congress party is completely wiped out by old congressmen who've taken the Congress party's vote away. In Tamil Nadu, Stalin, I think he's checking the use by date on his coalition with the Congress party on a weekly basis, and he will see what's good for him and what is not. So Congress party now has to accept reality that its voters are leaving. Wherever there is an alternative, they will leave, and it might see something rude happening to it in Punjab, although these are early days yet for us to say that. So what about the other likely challengers? Stalin looks like a nice enough guy. In fact, for a lot of people who don't like Narendra Modi, particularly on the liberal secular side, he passes the Mera Neta Aisa Ho test because he's a nice guy. He's now visiting his opposition leaders. He's not being rude to them, and he's doing a lot of things which look politically correct, which also look decent. But the fact is, how much does he count for outside of Tamil Nadu? Can he stitch together a larger coalition under him that can credibly challenge Narendra Modi? I beg your pardon, but I don't think that is a possibility. Then see someone like Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee, actually, even more than Kejriwal, Mamata Banerjee has scored a famous victory against Narendra Modi. Hers is much bigger than Kejriwal's, not just because her state is 6 times bigger than Delhi in terms of the number of MPs it sends to Lok Sabha, but also because of the kind of energy and resources the BJP threw into West Bengal elections, and also the agencies, etc. But she stood up to that, and she's standing up to the agencies also, in the sense that, say, Mayawati and Akhilesh and Mulayam Singh Yadav have not been able to do. So she's doing that. Yet for her to be able to expand her presence and to expand her Bengali-centric party to enough states to build a critical mass of support is going to be tough. Unless something happens. Unless an opportunity for a leveraged buyout comes up. What that means is that if there is a shareholders revolt in a party like the Congress, who say, look, we have this capital, 20% vote, it's being wasted. Why don't we invest this capital someplace else, like venture capitalists, to get Modi out? Because that is our first objective. Then we'll think about coming to power. But the possibilities of that happening are zero, in fact, double zero. That is not going to happen. Now, if you look at all the leaders in Indian politics outside of BJP, those who are against the BJP, only 2 seem to have some chance at some stage to be able to challenge Narendra Modi. One is Mamata Banerjee, as I said. She's not that old by the standards of Indian politics. If anything, she's a few years younger than Narendra Modi. She has the fight in her. She also has the will to power. But she has the disadvantage of being a regional leader yet. Second, there is Arvind Kejriwal. Again, the will to power, skill, the smarts, he's got it all. But again, his party is small yet, one tiny state party. It will take time expanding. He's also got time. He's the youngest politician in the pantheon of Indian leaders, except one. And that one is in the BJP. That one is not in the opposition. Yogi Adityanath. So Arvind Kejriwal is young. His party is growing. His party is too small to support his formidable cult right now. Now, who does it leave? Definitely Sharad Pawar is not one of these. Sharad Pawar can be somebody who can be the Kautilya, Chanakya, stitch things together from the background as he has done with this coalition in Maharashtra, but not at the national level. So we have to accept that nationally at this point and in the foreseeable future, nobody quite has the fuel to outrun Modi Shah BJP. So will it be a one-horse race? Is he unbeatable? Now it's also a truism that in democracy, nobody is unbeatable. In fact, if you look at the history of democracies, they are filled with examples of leaders who thought they were unbeatable, whose supporters thought they were unbeatable, whose rivals thought they were unbeatable, but still got defeated. Donald Trump recently is a good example. Until say about 6-8 months before the elections, nobody had imagined that he was going to lose. So much so, even Narendra Modi was not shy of going with him on that stage in Texas and saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar," because it seemed to be such a certainty, but it changed quite dramatically. Now, an American comparison may not be that apt for India. So let's look at some Indian comparisons. Indira Gandhi, did anybody imagine she'll lose in 1977? Rajiv Gandhi, did anybody imagine he'll sit in the opposition after he had a majority of 400 plus? In 1984, you would have thought, okay, 450 ka, 415 ka, it will become 300, maybe 280, maybe 250, and there'll be a coalition. But nobody imagined that he'll lose so badly that he'll be out of power. Or Vajpayee in 2004. If Vajpayee, whether his party, Vajpayee himself, or his rivals, if you ask them what the election result is going to be, I don't think anybody had imagined that the result would be anything other than a larger majority for the NDA. But he lost. So how did each one of these lose? They did not lose because a rival came up, a face came up and defeated them. Nobody defeated Mrs. Gandhi in 77. Nobody defeated Rajiv Gandhi in 1989. Nobody defeated Vajpayee in 2004 because the opposition didn't even have a coalition. Nobody even said who's likely to be the prime minister because the opposition had not even imagined that they will win that election and they will come to power. Now, in each case, the fact is that it was the leader himself or herself who defeated themselves. Indira Gandhi because of her arrogant emergency, Rajiv Gandhi because of his many missteps and again starting out with a nice guy image, at the same time coming across as arrogant over Bofors and things. And third, Vajpayee, once again, because his party was so overconfident of their victory that they were callous with their coalition partners and they let them go. So in each one of these three cases, it was a strong leader who defeated themselves. No one from outside had to rise and do it. Now is Modi's looking like he's somebody who will do that? If you're a leader in the opposition or if you're a voter in the opposition, can you then sit back and wait for Modi to self-destruct? Now, if you look at the realistic situation, there is no sign of that happening. At least there is no discernible sign of that happening. Modi, Amit Shah, their party, they are very protective of their base. They are reaching out to their base all the time. And they contest every election in the tiniest state as if it's a matter of life and death. Because they go step by step and they don't mind stakes being seen to be so high that if they lose the odd state, it looks like a setback and a loss of prestige. They take that in their stride because they know that on an average, if they are winning most of the time, that is good enough. So what they are doing is they are fighting one opposition party or one opposition coalition, a state at a time. Winning most of the time, losing occasionally, but they can deal with those occasional losses. Now, how does anybody fight them? Can Mamata build a third front? Can Mamata and Stalin build a third front? Third front means a non-Congress, non-BJP front. It is not going to work because the moment you mention that, you are actually giving Narendra Modi a walkover in 2024. Because I don't believe that in 2024, India will be ready to vote for an amorphous coalition given the experience we've had in the past. So that's not going to happen. Can there be a Congress-led coalition? So again, we go back to the first question, is the Congress ready? In 2 years now, more than 2 years, Congress has not been able to even find a president for itself. How will it find a leader for the coalition? And how will they lead the coalition? So what does it mean? Does it that mean, which means the first two questions are irrelevant? So remember the questions. First was, is Modi beatable? Second was, if he is beatable, what will beat him? What will it take to beat him? And third, do you see anybody who's preparing to defeat him, or it looks like he can defeat, or he or she can defeat Narendra Modi? So here is a final thought, because there cannot be only one answer to that third question. There is a final thought. Does someone in the opposition have it in them to play electoral jiu-jitsu with Narendra Modi? Jiu-jitsu, as you know, is a martial art, Japanese martial art, where you use the opponent's strength against the opponent. You don't counter the opponent's strength, you use the opponent's strength against him. Now, the way to do that would be to again fight Narendra Modi and his BJP state by state. And can you then maybe build state-level coalitions to start beating him, or at least weakening him greatly in some states, particularly the key states, namely Uttar Pradesh, which is coming up very soon. The election in Uttar Pradesh is coming up very soon. Now, if there is someone like that who can do that, that somebody might have a different answer to our third question. Otherwise, the answer to the third question will be nobody, and the first two questions will be rendered irrelevant, which means Modi will remain unbeatable.